Here's how I pull my competitors' top performing Facebook and TikTok ads and turns this into a creative swipe file all automatically. I built this automation inside of Gumloop and it runs off of 4Play's API where it surfaces my competitors' top performing ads and automatically rewrites their scripts for my product or service, as well as surfacing new ad ideas based on what's working for them. And it even gives me top recommended use cases on where I should launch these ads. So there's hardly any need now to manually scroll through these ad libraries. Just plug in the brand name and the automation takes care of the rest. Alright, so as mentioned, we are inside of Gumloop and this flow is built primarily off of a couple of steps. So the first step right here is basically the form. And here we basically just need to add in two things. We have the domain of your brand that the flow will analyze, and then it has a competitor brand. Those are the only two things needed. The flow will take care of the rest, and that's why I'm such a huge fan of Gumloop when it comes to specifically ad library scraping, because it actually has a native integration with 4Play. So there's no need to do any sort of API calls or setting up any sort of like HTTP request nodes if you've been running inside of N8N. Since they have a native integration or app for 4Play, you don't have to do any of that. So in this case, the entire flow is basically just triggered off of your domain and a competitor domain. And this is basically an interface form, right? Where you can basically send this to other people and have them trigger the form based off of this. So you only need to add in the brand URL and a competitor URL. Moving on, we then start going through the flow. So we have a couple of steps here. For step one, we pull the domain and the competitor domain into an Ask AI node, which does deep research on your brand. So you can see right here that we have the prompt that, given the domain below, research and summarize my brand's positioning, core offer, audience, and competitive landscape. Include insights about the industry it operates in, recent news or trends, and relevant e-com details that provide context for marketing and ad strategy. And then we just have the domain dragged in right here. For this, we're using Perplexity as the reasoning model, but you can play around with any of these. We have pretty much all of the models. We have GPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini, but for the deep research, I'm fine using Perplexity for this. Then we move on. Then we have all of the nodes that are connected to 4Play. So you can see right here that we have the Facebook ad library of our own domain, of our own brand. And right now we're just pulling the top 10 ads in this case. We're then doing the same for all of our Instagram ads. You can see that we just changed the platform right here to Instagram, again using our brand domain as the source. We're then running through the exact same flow just for TikTok ads. And then we move on and do the exact same just for the competitor URL. So in this case, we put in the competitor's domain, we scrape their Facebook ads, we scrape their Instagram ads, and we scrape their TikTok ads. Lastly, we move on and do a similar deep research with the Ask AI node. Instead of earlier, we just used the competitor domain instead. So given the domain below, research and summarize my competitor's positioning, core offer, and target audience, basically the exact same prompt, just for the competitor now instead. And then we move on to the next step where we drag and drop all of these nodes and we paste them into this next step, which is essentially the creative strategist of the flow. So again, we set up a new Ask AI node where the prompt input here will be that we are giving it the context of being an expert performance marketer and direct response copywriter specializing in social media advertising. The task here is to analyze my brand's deep research and historical video ads and then generate high performing new ad concepts using my competitor ads as inspiration. So this is kind of like the key here where we're feeding it all of the context from our ads and from the competitor ads, and then having it use the competitor ad data as inspiration. So then we just give it what the input will be. So the brand deep research, positioning, core values, target audience, as well as the existing video ads data, with the goal being to generate 30 new ad concepts that include new hooks, angles, and scripts that are tied directly to the brand strategy and audience pain point, but referencing the brand's past ads and the competitor ads. And these should be ready for production across multiple platforms. Then we just have some rules here in terms of like output format, and that's pretty much it. And then the detail instructions here at the end. Then we just add in the different variables. We have the brand research, we have the Facebook ads, we have the Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and then the exact same for the competitor. We then go through another AI node, in this case the extract data node, where in this case we're basically extracting from the response. So basically we are extracting from the analysis of this node the full new angle, which is just text, the reference ad, the new script, the reasoning, the recommended use case, and that's pretty much it. And again, all of this is basically just extracted from the response from the creative strategist node down here. Then we basically map everything into a Google Sheet here. We also map in just everything from the previous step into the Google Sheet, where we then map the new angle, we map the reference ad, we map the script, we map the reasoning, the recommended use case, and then we just have a title for the actual spreadsheet. And then we basically just have everything uploaded right here into the Google Sheet, and that's pretty much it for this flow. And this is what the output looks like, where we have all of the new angles right here that are based on the competitors.
Liquid IV might have just put out the best of all time. The Stitch to Glitch bundle comes with 2 of their brand new sugar-free energy multipliers, and they include this little shaker bottle.
You also get the new script, which is based on the competitor ad. You get the reasoning for why we think this specific ad can work. And then we also get the recommended use case here. So in this case, this should be a Facebook and IG Reels feed, sort of UGC style direct response ad, focusing on the subscribe and save offer. And all of these angles, all of these scripts, all of the reasoning is primarily based off of, again, our deep research from our brands, our own winning video ads, as well as the competitors' ads, which are referenced right here. So it's a pretty simple flow, very, very easy to set up. Again, it's pretty much like a 4-part flow, where we have the input at the top, which is basically the brand URL and the competitor URL, and then the flow takes care of the rest. It maps the deep research and pulls all of your ads, as well as the deep research for your competitor and all of your competitors' ads. It feeds everything into the creative strategist node right here, which then gives you the full analysis as requested in the prompt. We then basically map the analysis output as different steps in this extract data node, which we then feed into our Google spreadsheet. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's a very simple but very powerful flow. And I see this as a way where you can easily pump out a ton of new ad variations based on, again, some of your competitors' top performing and longest running ads, right? So definitely don't sleep on this flow. If you guys want the template, feel free to DM me and I will send this to you. Again, guys, definitely give this flow a try. Super helpful. Definitely helped me pump out a ton of new concepts and ad angles for partners and clients. So yeah, give this a spin and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.